The assessment. The evaluation chamber of the Galactic Confederation hung suspended in the void between stars, its crystalline surfaces refracting light from 1,000 distant suns. Inside, first evaluator X427 studied the holographic display with growing confusion. The numbers couldn't be right. Run the calculation again, X427 commanded, their neural interfaces pulsing with frustration. The chamber's quantum computers hummed as they processed the vast array of variables that determined a species' estimated time of survival, ETS. The results appeared once more, unchanged. According to their most sophisticated models, the species designated humanity should have extinguished itself 247 standard cycles ago. Yet there they were, not only surviving but expanding across their solar system. Second evaluator Vi-891 floated closer to the display, their crystalline form shifting in thought. Perhaps there is an error in our baseline assumptions. Impossible, X427 responded. These models have accurately predicted the rise and fall of 10,000 civilizations. They account for every variable: resource management, technological advancement rate, social stability factors, environmental impact coefficients. Yet they survive, Vi-891 observed quietly. The words hung in the chamber like an accusation. The Confederation's entire purpose was built around these predictions. They monitored developing civilizations, calculated their ETS, and when necessary, intervened to prevent catastrophic collapses that could threaten galactic stability. Their mathematics was perfect. Their logic was flawless. But humanity refused to follow the equation. Look at their history, X427 commanded, expanding the holographic display. By all measures, they should have destroyed themselves during their atomic age. The probability was 99.98%. Yet they not only survived but maintained those weapons without using them in global conflict. The display shifted, showing more data points. Their climate crisis should have triggered societal collapse. Their political divisions should have led to fatal fragmentation. Their technological advancement rate should have outpaced their ethical frameworks. Every major crisis point in their development has had a survival probability approaching zero. Vi-891 studied the patterns thoughtfully. Yet each time, they found a way forward. Perhaps we need to consider factors outside our traditional variables, such as X427 asked, their tone carrying a hint of derision. Their art, their music, their stories. Vi-891 brought up new displays, showing the rich tapestry of human culture. No other species we've evaluated creates quite like they do. They imagine possibilities that defy logical prediction. They believe in things that cannot be quantified. Irrelevant variables, X427 dismissed. Creative expression has never been shown to impact survival probability. Then explain this. Vi-891 highlighted a particular data set. During their most recent global pandemic, we calculated a 78% chance of societal breakdown. Instead, they developed a vaccine in record time. And during the development process, their scientists reported being inspired by works of fiction about humanity overcoming similar challenges. X427 paused, their crystalline form clouding slightly. Correlation does not imply causation. No, Vi-891 agreed. But perhaps it's time we admitted that our understanding of causation is incomplete. The chamber fell silent as both evaluators contemplated the implications. For millennia, the Confederation had guided the galaxy's development through pure logic and mathematical precision. Their models were more than just predictions. They were the foundation of their civilization's purpose. We need more data, X427 finally declared. Direct observation. Detailed analysis. We must understand how they continue to defy probability. Agreed, Vi-891 said. But we should proceed carefully. If we're wrong about their survival probability, we might be wrong about everything else. X-427 finished. As the evaluation chamber continued its silent orbit through space, the two evaluators began formulating their investigation protocols. Neither spoke, the question weighing heavily in their minds. What would it mean for the Confederation if they discovered that the most fundamental aspect of civilization, survival itself, couldn't be reduced to mathematical certainty? On Earth, blissfully unaware of the cosmic assessment taking place, humanity continued its chaotic, improbable march forward, defying calculations with every step. Impossible variables. The research vessel Empirical Truth emerged from quantum space above Earth's northern pole, its advanced cloaking systems rendering it invisible to human detection. Inside, Research Director Xi-105 reviewed the preliminary data from their observation probes with mounting frustration. "These readings must be contaminated," Xi-105 announced to the research team. "The probability deviations are too extreme to be natural." Senior researcher Keck-782 examined the data streams flowing through their neural interface. "All instruments are functioning within normal parameters, Director. The deviations are real." The data before them told an impossible story. They had been monitoring human response to carefully engineered challenges, minor resource shortages, localized disasters, technological failures. According to their models, each challenge should have produced predictable patterns of social strain and institutional breakdown. Instead, humanity repeatedly demonstrated what their equations insisted was mathematically impossible. They got stronger. "Look at this response pattern." Keck's 782 highlighted a particular data set. "When we induced crop failures in this region, the local population should have experienced a 43% increase in social instability. Instead, they developed new farming methods and established support networks that improved their overall resilience." And here, another researcher added, "When we introduced subtle technological disruptions to their global communication networks, they didn't just restore functionality. They created redundant systems that made their networks more robust than before." Xi-105's crystalline form darkened with concern. "It's as if they instinctively transformed challenges into opportunities for advancement. But that defies all known principles of societal evolution." The research team had spent a full cycle studying humanity's responses to adversity, and each new observation only deepened the mystery. Their models predicted that intelligent species would naturally seek the path of least resistance, gradually optimizing their societies toward maximum stability and minimum risk. Humans, inexplicably, seem to thrive on risk. "I've been analyzing their information networks," Keck's 782 reported, bringing up a new holographic display. "They constantly share stories of past challenges overcome, fictional scenarios of future challenges, and detailed accounts of their failures. It's as if they're training themselves." Xi-105 finished, a new understanding beginning to form. "They deliberately maintain memories of adversity and actively imagine future difficulties, not to avoid them, but to prepare for them." The implications were staggering. The Confederation's entire approach to civilization was built around the principle of optimization, identifying and eliminating potential sources of instability before they could threaten a species' survival. But humans appeared to be actively resistant to optimization. "Director," a junior researcher called out, "you should see this. I've been studying their educational institutions." The display shifted to show scenes from human schools, particularly their teaching of history. The researchers watched in fascination as young humans were systematically exposed to accounts of their species' greatest challenges, failures, and recoveries. "They're not just preserving these memories," Keck 782 observed. "They're using them to create probabilistic models of their own. But unlike our models, which seek to minimize risk, their models seem designed to maximize adaptability." Xi-105 completed the thought. "Every challenge we introduce isn't just solved. It's incorporated into their collective knowledge base, analyzed, theorized about, and added to their cultural preparation for future challenges." The research team fell silent, processing the implications. Their own civilization had achieved stability through perfect prediction and prevention of problems. Humanity, it seemed, had achieved something different. Not stability, but perpetual adaptability. "There's more," Kex 782 added hesitantly. "I've been running meta-analyses of their response patterns. There's a correlation we overlooked." The display shifted again, showing a complex web of human interactions during crisis periods. When faced with challenges, their cooperation indicators don't just maintain previous levels, they increase significantly. Xi-105 studied the pattern with growing amazement. They don't just survive challenges. They use them as catalysts for stronger social bonds. It was the opposite of every known sociological principle. Stress was supposed to fragment societies, not strengthen them. "Director," another researcher interrupted, "we're detecting unusual activity in their space programs. Multiple nations are accelerating their exploration initiatives, despite the resource pressures we introduced." "Show me," Xi-105 commanded. The display filled with images of human space activities, new launch facilities being constructed, increased satellite deployments, accelerated development of deep space capabilities. The timing couldn't be coincidental. "They detected us," Xi-105 realized with sudden clarity. "Not directly, but they've sensed something. And their response isn't to fortify or withdraw, but to expand, to reach out into the very space where their potential threat exists." The research vessel hung silently above Earth as its crew grappled with their discoveries. They had come to study how humans defied probability. Instead, they were learning that perhaps their entire understanding of probability, of how civilizations were supposed to work, might need to be reevaluated. In their pursuit of perfect stability, had the Confederation missed something fundamental about the nature of survival itself? The breaking point. The High Council chamber of the Confederation thrummed with tension as first evaluator, X-427, presented the latest findings from Earth. The crystalline forms of the Council members shifted in patterns that reflected their growing concern. "The human anomaly cannot be allowed to continue," declared High Counselor, or 991, their form pulsing with deep red energies. "Their defiance of probability threatens the very foundation of our understanding. We must determine their breaking point." Research Director Xi-105's report hung in the center of the chamber, a damning collection of data showing how humans had not only survived, but thrived under their previous tests. The Council had never encountered a species so resistant to probabilistic manipulation. "I propose a more aggressive testing protocol," or 991 continued. "Not mere isolated challenges, but coordinated systemic pressures. We must push them until they demonstrate the predicted behavior." The Council chamber erupted in debate. Some argued for caution, warning that pushing too hard might reveal their presence. Others insisted that the integrity of their models must be preserved at any cost. The humans had become more than just an anomaly. They were a challenge to the Confederation's most basic principles. On Earth, the first signs of the Council's new testing protocol began to manifest. Sophisticated quantum manipulations triggered cascading failures in power grids across multiple continents. Artificial intelligence systems began exhibiting unexpected behaviors. Weather patterns shifted in ways that defied historical models. The Confederation observers watched, certain that this time they would see the predicted fragmentation of human society. Instead, they witnessed something extraordinary. In North America, as power grids failed during a severe winter storm, communities organized themselves into mutual support networks. People opened their homes to strangers, shared resources, and collaborated on innovative local power solutions. The predicted social breakdown never materialized. When AI systems began failing, human programmers didn't retreat from the technology. Instead, they organized a global hackathon, sharing data and insights across traditional competitive boundaries. Within weeks, they had not only identified the quantum interference patterns, but had begun developing new AI architectures that were more resistant to external manipulation. Impossible, or 991 declared, reviewing the data. They're not just solving the individual problems, they're identifying the underlying patterns. How can they be so close to discovering our involvement? The answer came from an unexpected source. The Confederation's monitoring systems detected a surge in scientific papers and online discussions about anomalous phenomena. Humans weren't just responding to challenges. They were actively theorizing about their true nature. Citizen scientists shared data. Professional researchers collaborated across disciplines. They were piecing together the puzzle faster than anyone had predicted. We need to terminate the experiment, Xi-105 argued before the council. They're demonstrating capabilities far beyond our initial assessments. If we continue to escalate, we continue as planned, or 991 interrupted. Initiate the electromagnetic pulse sequence. Let's see how they handle a global technological reset. The pulse was precisely calculated, designed to overwhelm Earth's magnetic field and disable the majority of their electronic infrastructure. According to every model, this would trigger widespread chaos and a rapid collapse of their technological civilization. The pulse struck. Satellites failed. Power grids went dark. Digital networks fell silent. The Confederation observers waited for the inevitable descent into chaos. But chaos never came. Instead, they watched in astonishment as humans executed contingency plans they had apparently been developing for exactly this type of scenario. Military and civilian communication switched to hardened backup systems. Communities implemented emergency protocols that seemed eerily well prepared for this specific type of disaster. They knew, Xi-105 realized with growing alarm. Not the details, but they knew something was coming. They'd been preparing for everything, even things they had no rational reason to expect. The Council received hourly updates as humanity not only survived, but began adapting to the new reality with remarkable speed. Solar flare shelters were repurposed as community centers. Amateur radio networks sprang to life. Local manufacturing facilities were modified to produce essential electronics hardened against electromagnetic interference. Look at these adaptation patterns. KEX 782 reported, highlighting data streams. They're not just recovering. They're rebuilding everything to be stronger than before. It's as if they're using our attack as a blueprint for improvement. But the most disturbing development came 3 weeks after the pulse. A joint announcement from multiple space agencies revealed the successful launch of a new satellite network, one specifically designed to be resistant to electromagnetic interference. The design incorporated protective features that even the Confederation hadn't considered. They didn't just anticipate potential attacks, Xi-105 explained to the stunned council. They imagined them, planned for them, and used those plans to drive innovation. Our attempts to prove their vulnerability have only made them stronger. Or 991's crystalline form darkened to a deep purple. Then we have no choice. Initiate the final protocol. If they cannot be made to follow probability, they must be removed from the equation entirely. The council chamber fell silent. The final protocol had never been used in the Confederation's history. It would ensure the humans followed their predicted path of self-destruction by guaranteeing they had no other choice. But as the council debated humanity's fate, they failed to notice a critical detail in the latest sensor data. Humans had begun detecting patterns in the quantum signature of Confederation technology, and they were already working on countermeasures. Beyond numbers, Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the data scrolling across her quantum detection array, her heart racing. After months of searching, they'd finally found it. Proof they weren't alone. The pattern was subtle, almost elegant in its complexity, but it was definitely artificial. Dr. Chen, her colleague Dr. James Okonjo, called from his station. We're picking up similar signatures from multiple points in the solar system. Whatever this is, it's big. In the secure underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert, humanity's best minds had gathered to understand the anomalies that had plagued Earth for the past year. They had expected to find natural phenomena, or perhaps evidence of solar activity. Instead, they found something that shouldn't exist: quantum-level manipulations of reality itself. High above Earth, in the Confederation's cloaked observation platforms, alarms began to sound. Director Keck 782 reported urgently to Xi-105, "The humans have developed quantum detection capabilities. They're mapping our observation network." Xi-105's crystalline form pulsed with shock. "Impossible. Their technology is centuries away from such capabilities." "Not anymore." Keck 782 displayed the data. "They've made unprecedented advances in quantum physics. Our tests didn't break them. They used each challenge to accelerate their development." In the High Council chamber, the news struck like a physical blow. Or 991 demanded immediate action. "Begin the final protocol now, before they can." The message that interrupted the council session came from an unexpected source: Earth itself. A quantum signal, crude by Confederation standards, but undeniably intentional, broadcast on frequencies that perfectly matched their own communication systems. "Greetings," the message began in expertly decoded Confederation standard language. "We know you're watching. We know you've been testing us. We would like to talk." The council erupted in chaos. It was supposed to be impossible. Humans shouldn't have been able to detect them, let alone communicate with them. Every probability model, every calculation, every prediction had been wrong. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen and her team continued their work, unaware of the panic they had caused among their watchers. They had spent months correlating data from each crisis, each challenge, each anomaly. The pattern they discovered wasn't just evidence of alien observation. It was a window into an entirely different way of thinking. "They're obsessed with prediction," Dr. Okonjo observed, studying the quantum signatures. "Every test, every manipulation, it's all about trying to force reality to match their mathematical models." Dr. Chen nodded, making another adjustment to their quantum beacon. "That's why they keep escalating. They can't accept that their models might be wrong." In orbit, Xi-105 and Keck 782 watched the humans with growing fascination. The quantum detection facility was expanding, but not in ways their models predicted. Instead of militarizing their discovery, the humans were building communication arrays. Instead of preparing for war, they were reaching out in peace. Director Keck 782 reported, "I've been analyzing their quantum technology. The design, it's unlike anything in our database." Xi-105 studied the human designs with dawning comprehension. Because they're not trying to control quantum states like we do. They're dancing with them, working with the uncertainty instead of trying to eliminate it. The High Council received hour-by-hour updates as humanity's quantum capabilities grew. But it wasn't just their technical achievements that defied prediction. It was their approach. They made no attempt to hide their discoveries, sharing data openly across nations. They proposed theories that seemed to violate fundamental laws of probability, yet somehow produced working results. "We've been asking the wrong questions," Xi-105 realized, presenting new findings to the council. "We kept trying to calculate their breaking point, but that's not how they work. They don't break under pressure, they transform." The evidence was undeniable. Each crisis the Confederation had engineered had become a catalyst for innovation. Each attempt to destabilize human society had instead strengthened it. They had inadvertently created the perfect conditions for human advancement. "Look at how they approach uncertainty," Xi-105 continued, displaying more data. "Where we see chaos to be controlled, they see possibilities to be explored. Where we demand predictability, they embrace adaptation." Or 991's form, darkened with resistance. "You cannot seriously suggest we abandon our models. They are the foundation of our civilization." "No," Xi-105 replied quietly. "I'm suggesting we learn from them. Our models aren't wrong. They're incomplete. We've achieved perfect stability, but at what cost? We've forgotten how to grow, how to adapt, how to transform challenges into opportunities. The quantum signal from Earth continued, patient and persistent. The humans weren't demanding answers or making threats. They were simply maintaining an open channel, ready for dialogue. They're not an anomaly to be corrected, Kex 782 added. They're a mirror showing us what we've lost in our pursuit of perfect prediction. The question isn't whether they'll survive. It's whether we remember how to truly live. Rewriting the formula. The great evaluation chamber of the Confederation had never been so full. Representatives from every member species gathered to witness an unprecedented event. The first official contact with a civilization that had refused to follow probability. First Evaluator X-427 stood before the assembly, their crystalline form radiating a complex mix of emotions. For millennia, we have guided the galaxy through mathematical precision. Our models have prevented countless catastrophes, preserved innumerable species. But today, we must confront a fundamental truth. There is more to survival than prediction. The chamber's quantum displays showed scenes from Earth, cities rebuilding with new, resilient technologies, quantum research facilities expanding their understanding of reality, communities working together in ways that defied statistical models. But most importantly, they showed humanity's response to the knowledge that they weren't alone. Not fear, not aggression, but profound curiosity. Dr. Sarah Chen's voice echoed through the chamber as she addressed the assembled aliens via quantum link. "We understand why you tested us," she said, her words automatically translated. "You wanted to protect the galaxy from unstable civilizations. But stability isn't the same as stagnation, and survival isn't just about avoiding catastrophe." In the months since first contact, humanity had shared their perspectives on adaptation, innovation, and growth. They didn't dismiss the Confederation's mathematical models. Instead, they suggested ways to expand them, to include variables that couldn't be quantified but could be understood. "Your civilization achieved something remarkable," Dr. Okonjo added, joining the transmission. "You created perfect stability. But in doing so, you may have overlooked something crucial: the role of uncertainty in driving evolution and growth." The assembled representatives murmured as data streams showed how human societies had not just recovered from each test, but had used them as opportunities for advancement. Their responses didn't follow predictable patterns because they weren't trying to maintain stability. They were constantly evolving. High Counselor or 991, who had once advocated for humanity's destruction, now stood to address the chamber. "We sought to break them," they admitted, "to prove our models correct. Instead, they showed us that our models were incomplete. The question before us now is, are we capable of learning from them?" The decision facing the Confederation was profound. Their entire civilization was built on the principle of mathematical certainty. Accepting humanity's perspective meant acknowledging that some aspects of existence couldn't be reduced to equations, that there was value in the unpredictable, the innovative, the transformative. Research Director Xi-105 presented the final analysis. Humanity's greatest strength isn't their technology or their resilience. It's their ability to transform uncertainty into possibility. They don't just survive challenges, they use them as catalysts for growth. This isn't a flaw in their civilization. It's an aspect of life itself that we had forgotten. The evidence was clear in the data from Earth. Every crisis engineered by the Confederation had produced unexpected results: stronger communities, technological breakthroughs, new ways of thinking. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had demonstrated a form of stability that emerged from constant adaptation rather than rigid control. "We propose a new approach," Dr. Chen continued, "a collaboration between our civilizations. You have mastered the art of prediction. We have remembered the importance of adaptation. Together, we might achieve something greater than either of us could alone." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The humans weren't asking to be left alone or demanding reparations for the tests they had endured. They were offering partnership, a chance to combine the Confederation's profound understanding of cosmic laws with humanity's gift for transforming the impossible into the achievable. First evaluator X427 made the formal proposal. We move to establish a new category in our evaluation systems, not just estimated time of survival, but potential for transformation. And we acknowledge that humanity's greatest contribution to galactic civilization may be reminding us that true stability comes not from eliminating uncertainty, but from learning to thrive within it. The vote was unprecedented in Confederation history, not because it was unanimous, but because it wasn't. Some representatives chose to abstain, admitting they needed time to process these new ideas. It was exactly the kind of unpredictable outcome that their old models would have considered a failure, but now they recognized it as something else, the first step in their own transformation. As the new era of cooperation began, the Confederation's observers noted something remarkable. Their presence hadn't weakened humanity or forced them to change. Instead, humanity had helped the Confederation reconnect with something they had lost in their pursuit of perfect prediction: the capacity to grow, to wonder, and to see chaos not as a threat, but as an opportunity for creation. The final entry in the Confederation's evaluation of Earth read simply: estimated time of survival, indefinite. Reason: they understand that survival isn't about preventing change, but about changing to survive. In labs and universities across Earth, humans began working with their new alien colleagues, teaching them something that couldn't be captured in equations: how to embrace uncertainty, how to learn from failure, and how to transform challenges into catalysts for growth. And in doing so, they proved that the greatest achievements in the universe come not from following probability, but from defying it.